It's Buddy on for the Music Universe. I have world-renowned vocalist, guitarist, and songwriter Richie Kotzen joining me on the phone to discuss his upcoming album. His 21st album, Salting Earth, will be released on April 14th, followed by a tour. And while, Richie, we may think you stay busy doing other projects, you're pretty much a solo artist most of the time, which has allowed you to release 21 studio albums.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's a bit of an illusion out there. First of all, I don't have any projects. I'm very much doing my own thing most of the time. Recently I formed a band with Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy back in 2013 called the Winery Dogs. But other than that, I've just been making my records and existing and having my solo career. So I don't really get preoccupied with anything other than writing my music and recording it. And then the other thing is, I guess 21 sounds like a lot, but when it's taken out of context. But if you look at the fact that I made my first record in 1989, and now here we are in 2017, I guess to me it seems to make sense, that I would have, put a record out a year, but I don't do much else other than write music and record, so I got plenty of time to do it,
Oh, absolutely. And you're actually a one-man band on the album. Now, with the exception of background vocals on Make It Easy, you performed all the instruments.
Right, yeah. Well, it just kind of happened that way. I have so many records that have end up being basically me being the only guy on the record. It's not really planned that way, but that often comes just by nature of how I record my music. So the easiest way to explain it is in my studio. Now I've since moved, so I don't have the studio anymore, but for 20 years I was in the same place, and I had a studio where everything was always set up and always mic'd up and always ready to be recorded. So for people that don't understand really how you make a record, you'd have your drum set there, but the microphones would always be there, ready. You have the bass system for the bass guitar. It's always ready to go. So at any given moment, at any time, if I had an idea, I just walk in and I can start working on it. And so if I get a song, even if I finish a song, and I go back 2 months later and listen to something and decide I want to change it, I can change it. And so that's really how it ends up happening, that I'm the only guy. And also, secondly, a big part of why that happens is just how I hear music. In other words, when I write, 90% of the time when I write a song, I'm hearing it finished in my mind. I know what the bass line is. I know what the drum beat is. I just know. I hear it, and I know how to do it, and I know how to make it come to life. So in a way, sometimes I like working with people under the right circumstances, but then sometimes it kind of slows down my creative process, to be honest.
How is this album different than Cannibals, your previous record?
Well, obviously, it's the songs are different. We'll start there. Different lyrics, different notes, different rhythms. But there's a common thread. I mean, the thing that I like about this album is that I think for 10 songs, it really captures the full pendulum swing of what I do. Cannibals was a cool record, but I think some of the more rocking elements of Richie Kotzen may have been absent from Cannibals, and it was more focused on the kind of more soulful or funkier kind of elements, smaller guitar sounds and that sort of thing. Whereas this record, End of Earth, it has both. You have a song like This Is Life or My Rock, which is clearly more R&B oriented, but then at the same time you have the opening track Thunder and End of Earth, which clearly are more guitar driven. So I think when you look at what it is that I do as a solo artist, I call it like a pendulum swing, and I think that this record really showcases the spectrum of what I do. It doesn't have everything. I mean, there's no jazz fusion instrumentals on here, but I haven't really done that since I was in my late 20s. So I think it really encompasses what it is that I do very, very well. I'm really happy with the record. You know, the record's been finished for a long time, and I sat on it for 6 months and took a break from music. And I did that deliberately because I wanted to come back to it with fresh ears and see how I felt. Because most of the time when I make a record, I just finish it and release it, where this time I wanted to take a break. And when I came back to it, I really liked it. I was very, very happy with what I did. And so that was my confirmation that it needed to be released.
And you're actually releasing this independently via your own label, Headroom Inc.
Yeah, I'm self-releasing, and I've done that many, many times. I've got 14 or 15 products between DVDs and, you know, the Cannibals record, Into the Black, Get Up, many, many records that I self-release. And I started doing that years ago. I think the first one I did, it was either Get Up or Into the Black, where I just decided, you know, I'm just going to put it out on my own and see what happens. And, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, still believe in the old school approach of having a record label. But for me, with an artist that already has a bit of a fan base and I'm already known, frankly, it gets in the way. And I think in today's time, if I actually signed with a record label, I don't think I could afford to financially. I'd probably lose my home because they take so much on a financial level and really offer so little. Unless you're in a situation where you're signing with Universal Music and you're doing a all-encompassing deal and they're spending millions of dollars to promote you, in that case, that's a different story. But in that case, you would be 19 and be a pop star, or you would already be an established pop star. So for artists like me that have been around for a very, very long time, that have a fan base, that can tour around the world, I think the day of signing record deals has come to an end.
Will Salting Earth be available through your website only, or will it also be available digitally and streaming?
No, it goes everywhere. You know, the thing about digital that's fantastic is whatever aggregator you use to get your music from point A to point B, once you're in the system, you're everywhere. So you're on iTunes, you're on Spotify, and every single medium, you're there. And so as far as physical copy, obviously we sell physical copy at the shows. You can order it online, obviously Amazon. Everybody goes to Amazon and buys things. And in certain stores, in certain parts of the country, the record is stocked where there's a demand. And that's really how that works nowadays. You have your mom and pop record stores, which are great, but you don't have like Tower Records and that sort of thing anymore. So, you know, you'll have a couple of records in Best Buy. They have a record section. But in order to be stocked there, you have to have a demand. So let's say if Peoria, Illinois, the Best Buy there's a couple of Richie Kotzen fans and they want to buy the record, they can go to Best Buy and they'll get it. They'll stock it, you know, they'll order it for you. They'll order it. And if there's a demand, they'll stock it. But in general, you know, I don't know the last time I bought a CD. I listen to music. I stream music. That's how I listen to everything. And my house is wired that way. And personally, I love it because I don't have to have a bunch of stacks of CDs and records and things to go through. You know, I don't like stuff. Yeah. So for me, I love it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I'm a different animal.
Now, this might be a hard question to answer because I know artists and songwriters say their songs are always considered their babies and they don't like to favor one over the other. But are there any on this project that you're more fond of than others?
Well, you know, I guess, yeah, I do. There's certain things that stick out. You know, the song "This Is Life" is one that I really like. My Rock. You know, it's funny. I'm realizing on this record and on the tour, we just got out of rehearsal. I'm doing so much more piano stuff than I have, and even on the live show, you know, we're incorporating a lot of that. So it's something I'm looking forward to. But you know, the great thing about the record is, like I said, I had plenty of time to either release it or not release it or fix it up, add songs, delete songs. And so I'm happy with the whole thing, you know. But highlights for me, This Is Life definitely is probably one of the main highlights. And I like the opening track. I think that came out really cool.
And you're kicking off your tour April 21st in Agoura Hills, California. Now, who is your touring band and what can fans expect to see on this tour?
Kotzen is the bass player, and the drummer's name is Mike Bennett. And interestingly enough, we were talking the other day, it's been, in October, it'll be 6 years that Dylan and I have been playing together. And I think Mike and I are up to about 7 years of playing together. So it's crazy to think that we've been playing together that long. That's a really long time. And in that time, you really get to know how to interact. And so we've got such a great live chemistry. It's something that I really cherish with these guys, is our ability to improvise and really change arrangements on the spot. It's almost like an instinct that we have when we play together. It's really unique, and I don't think I've really had that in any musical situation at the level that I have it with this band.
You have North American dates scheduled through May 17th. Any plans after that?
Oh, God, yeah. We've got tons of dates, and they're updating my site, that's where we really put everything so people know where we are. But we've got like 5 weeks in the United States. We've got a month in Europe in September. We've got Australia, Japan. We're going to Mexico, Brazil, Chile, Argentina, a few other countries in South America. And then we're going to hopefully be doing a second run in the United States in October that will lead us to Canada as well. So we really have a long year ahead of us.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds like you guys are booked solid. Is there anything else that you would like to let fans know?
No, well, I guess that's it. The record's called Salting Earth, and it comes out April 14th. And like you said, we're starting our American tour in California, in Agora, on the 21st. And check out richiekotzen.com. All the dates are there. We're going to be touring the United States for at least 5 weeks straight on the initial leg here. So hopefully we're coming to a place near you.
All right. And thank you very much, Richie, for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and chat with us about your new album, Salting Earth, due April 14th. So get out there, request it at your local music store, indie store perhaps, and hopefully get it stocked. And, of course, go see him and his band live on tour this summer. And be sure to check out richiekotzen.com for those tour dates. And be sure to check out themusicuniverse.com for the latest news and updates.